So, Joe, just tell us how it all started off for you. I presume you started off on ponies and, you know, pony clubbing, what have you.
Yeah, started off, always had ponies ever since I can remember. We've had pony, a lot of hunting, pony club, bit of BSJ, show jumping, but always from the age of 10 or 11, it was sort of counting down the time until I went pointing. And I remember Dad was still riding his few pointers then, and everybody said, how old are you now? And every year it was like, oh, I'm 12 now, so 4 more years, and we just counted down the time until we went pointing.
And how did you do pointing?
Yeah, did well. Dad went to Ascot, bought a couple of horses cheaply up there. They all won. I had 8 winners in my first season. And then the following season I started to ride for Richard Barber and ride his 5-year-olds because Tim Mitchell was too fat to do the weight, basically. So I rode the 11.7 ones, and yeah, 3 good years pointing. I had 46 winners point to pointing.
And was it through the Barber situation you got involved with Paul Nicholls?
No, it was, I rode one of our own horses in a hunter chase at Wincanton, and he won up there. It was my first ride under rules, and Paul came up and offered me the job as an amateur that night. So then I started riding out there in the August, and he sort of got me the connection with Richard Barber. Obviously, like my granddad had been friends with the Barber family all his life anyway, so we knew each other. But it was more the other way around how I got involved with riding the Barber pointers.
Was it? I mean, it was a shock to me. I can remember thinking, "Who's this Joe Tizzard? I'd never heard of him before." Then suddenly he's got the Paul Nicholls job.
Yeah, I mean, I was at Paul's from the age of 16. When I was 18, he said I'd had 30 winners or so as an amateur, and he said, "Go on, turn professional." And it'd always been a concern with my height that I was going to become too heavy, but I had control of my weight. I thought I'd go for it while I get a chance, and then the first season I rode 91 winners, and it was just unbelievable. I didn't really know what was going on, to be honest. You know, I got involved in a sport that we'd always followed, but not been brought up in and around. Like pointing, obviously, was our main thing, but not national hunt. And then I turned professional and just got on these lovely horses, and it was all so easy.
I think it's interesting you say that you didn't actually realise what was going on. I mean, when you're young, you don't look into your riding at all, do you?
No, and was sort of unaware of how valuable the races were or anything like that. Just got on the horses. All of Paul's horses were ridden very similarly, and just got on pointed, got on jumping, and they won. And we had an unbelievable year. And I think through that season, the longest I went without a winner was 13 rides, and that lasted about 4 days. And so, like, later on, like, you start to appreciate it all a little bit more.
And of course, when you were with Paul, you were associated with just so many good horses. It's incredible. Which one's really Seymour Business? I mean, what sticks out in your mind?
Yeah, it was Seymour Business. I mean, I was when I was 16, I got to school him around a point-to-point course up at Ston Easton, and on a Sunday morning, it was before we'd run over fences, you know, and that was just an amazing thing to do. But like Seymour Business, I was third on him in the Gold Cup. Flagship Brawlers was an awesome horse, but the list is endless. I mean, you got so much talent coming through, and Strong Flow. I remember him when he won his first novice hurdle around Taunton on him, and the feel he gave me was unbelievable. Just absolute aeroplane.
But I suppose you just almost take it for granted, don't you? Those good horses, they were just sort of coming time after. I remember a big winner, Rockforce at Ascot as well.
Yeah. We say it at home, like now our horses are starting to get more ability. We say, cool, he's like riding one of Paul's used to be, you know, a novice hurdler. You just got on, sat 3rd or 4th, got to 3 out, give him a little squeeze, and they quickened away, and it was unbelievable. There was a huge amount of talent there. And
at what stage when you were riding there did you start to feel that you were getting under pressure, you know, when it started being hard work for you?
Well, it was sort of 2 years down the line. Then there was a couple of owners that wanted to use different people, and then the following season, it was still a good season, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like the year before, you know. It just didn't happen. Paul's horses weren't quite in the form they had been the year before, and then you start to sort of
self-doubt creeps in, doesn't it?
Yeah, and your confidence, like racing's a huge confidence thing, and you'd be going in and like when you're getting to 3 out, or when you're making a decision, what am I going to do? You're like, if I kick, is that going to be wrong? Am I going to hold on? That's going to be wrong. And that takes a lot of coping with. But at the same time, Dad was starting. He'd got a permit because just running basically our pointers were then going to run under rules because that's why they were there for me to ride. And he was starting to have the odd winner, and every time you had a bad day, like a good old quality memories little horse, he'd pop up, and just change everything again.
And so your dad sort of started up for you, and that has just grown immeasurably, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he bought the 2 pointers, and we had 1 homebred right at the start, and then the following season we had 8 or 9 pointers back here, and then when I turned professional, he did 1 season pointing, but he was having to book jockeys last minute, getting let down, and he wasn't getting the enjoyment from it. The whole idea was to do it as a family, so he took his permit out, and then and did quite well. So other people thought, oh, I could run my horse under rules, and it just grew and grew and grew from there.
And one horse that always sticks in my mind, Joe Lively, that you got. I mean, he cost nothing, did he?
No, he was a cheap horse at Ascot. My godfather went and bought him, and like we still tease him now that he bought him because of the name. and well, we were talking about running him in the cellar to start off with because he's one of the slowest horses we've ever had at home. And we said, no, we don't want to run him in the cellar. We'll run him in a little novice hurdle, and he went and finished 3rd, and then just progressed. He was unbelievable, but it was our first flag bearer horse from at home, and really put this place on the map.
And what was the catalyst? What made you say, Joe Tizzard's had enough of this?
Well, it was a split. Like, I'm not making it up when I say it was an overnight decision. I thought about it Thursday night, and I decided that was that on Friday morning. But all the way through, like in the last couple of years back here, I mean, especially since Brendan's been coming up through, like some of our owners wanted Brendan, and I was absolutely happy with that. I wasn't going to sort of jeopardise my future or our business back at home for sort of standing my ground and say I want to ride them or throw my toys out of the pram. So it was absolutely fine. So the rides have come less and less, winners come less and less, and this has got busier and busier back here. And I woke up Thursday morning and just felt the time was right. I wasn't excited about going racing that day. I was, and to be honest, I haven't for 1 second thought about it since. I don't think I made the wrong decision. I think I made the right decision. I couldn't be happier. And it
wasn't a bottle thing. It wasn't a confidence thing.
No. If you start thinking it, you've got to stop. In my opinion, otherwise something goes wrong. Simple as that. No, it's not a bottle thing. I schooled again this morning. It's not that. It was just the time was right for me to come home and get more involved in it.
Q Card's just been remarkable, and he's a horse you'll always be associated with. When he won that bumper, we saw him on At the Races win that bumper at Fontwell. Was that? I mean, is he a flyer at home? Did you think this is an absolute...
no, he was always a lovely, lovely horse, and he went well at home. Didn't know he was going to win it quite like that, but the Fontwell wasn't a complete shock. There's a few people that had backed him, and like because we told him he was a bloody nice horse.
So you had it right off then?
No, we don't bet, but like a few of our friends were like, yeah, this is a nice horse, you go close. But the Cheltenham was a surprise because everybody's telling us we can't run a 4-year-old in the Cheltenham bumper. And we were like, why not? He won really well at Fontwell, why not? And then we was walking around the paddock, and I remember when I went out, Bob and Jean were nervous. Dad said, look after him, mind, he looks bloody small in it. But we couldn't imagine he was going to win the way he did. It's just unbelievable. He's just a superb horse to be involved with, and so we're still involved with him. He's going to be the hardest one, I think, when he runs. More than likely, he'll go straight for the Betfair up at Haydock, and so he's going to be the most difficult one.
But he's been a funny horse in a lot of ways. You're very similar. You've achieved, both of you, so much, and yet there's always been people there just crabbing away. He's class, isn't he? But there's always people knocking him.
Yeah, there has been. I think this year sort of quietened a few. But then even when we were talking about going to the Gold Cup before he got injured, they're like, oh, we won't get the trip, we won't do that, and shut up. It's like, what more has he got to do? He's won a ride now. Why can't we have a go when we've got our best chance to his 3rd favourite in the Gold Cup, for Christ's sake?
And when you decided to hang your boots up, you must have been thinking all the time, you know, I don't want to miss out on this horse, because I mean you're the only one that's ridden him. And
yeah, but you can't hang on for one horse, and it wouldn't. If I was like the way it's going, if I start to have less and less rides, then I'd start to think you would do Q Card an injustice, you know, because you weren't bang on the money. So he was always going to outlast me. He's only an 8-year-old.
And have you seen racing? It's changed a lot. I mean, I know you've evolved. I know you're a good laugh. You like going out. You know, things have changed as well.
I don't go out. I've been dedicated for 16 years.
Now, we all know that's not totally true, but no, God, I mean, it's changed, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's got a lot more professional. I think even in the 16 years I've been doing it, AP doesn't drink. So if you're a young jockey, a lot of them don't drink now, do they? They're a lot fitter. But it's good, I think, that I progress with them, and there's a good bunch of lads riding. A real good bunch of lads riding. And
young Brendan, he keeps you involved because he lodges with you, doesn't he?
Yeah, he stays with me 3 or 4 nights a week, and so he keeps me up to scratch with what's going on. And he's a good lad, you know. I've enjoyed having him riding, but living with me as well. You know, I get on really well with him, and you can talk to him, and he's a good boy.
I sense you get a bit of pleasure about helping him, perhaps, you know, coaching him.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I haven't had to coach him an awful lot. He's an intelligent boy, you know. You don't have to say, right, I want you to sit in first or second place. You just say, get in nice and handy. And I mean, I think what Dad's going to find the hardest is because we never did riding instructions, because we knew what we wanted. And Brendan knows how we like them ridden, and he keeps it easy. He's a good lad.
So what does the future hold for Joe Tizzard then? What's going to happen? When are you going to kick the old man out and start training him?
Well, I've got to do the courses, but I'm already on top of that. I don't want to kick him out. What I want to do is get involved, speak to the owners on a more regular basis, and when it changes, it's just going to be a name at the top of the... Dad's not ready to retire, but it'll just be the name change, so the owners are used to dealing with me, used to everything, and it won't be a massive upset.
Oh, he still loves it, doesn't he?
He loves it, but it's a lot for Dad to deal with, and you know, his phone never stops ringing, and so he needs, like, we've always helped him, but he needs more help with it.
Just where I park my car, and I'm just looking by the horse walk. I mean, the type of horses that you buy, not dissimilar to Paul Nicholls. You know, they're proper horses, aren't they?
Yeah, but that's a lot that we learnt from coming from Paul's. All our horses are bought to go chasing, big, strong types. That's what we've had the most success with, and that's what we continue to do.
So when you look back on the last 16 years, what will you remember most? What will you miss, or what won't you miss?
I won't miss the glum faces when a horses run disappointing, to be honest. But I know that feeling more and more so in the last couple of years, because I'm part of the training. I won't miss the driving. Well, I won't miss the driving because I'll probably still be doing it just as much.
But you'll be driving the horse box now.
Yeah. So I miss the lads in a way. It's great fun. Everybody says about it, but the camaraderie in there is unbelievable. So I'll miss that side of it. What I won't miss is I've had to watch my weight for 16 years, so I can put a bit of weight on.
So you're going to get fat as a fool, are you now?
I'm not leaving the sport. You know, I will be going racing 2 or 3 times a week, and I'm still going to be heavily involved in it. So it's the riding had just come to an end, and now move on. And I plan on pushing the farming business and pushing the racehorse business, and expanding both of them.
It's lovely though that someone leaves the game. You're not in the least bit chippy. You're grateful for what you did, and you know, and it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, I've had a wonderful time. I'm also in a lucky position because I've got this all behind me. You know, I haven't had to drag it out trying to work out what I was going to do next. You know, so I appreciate the position I'm in, but I've loved being a jockey. Really loved it. I had a cracking time doing it, and but the time's right to move on.